I honestly thought that I knew Iron Maiden. I've been a fan of this band for over 4 decades. I've seen them multiple times live. I've even met the band in their dressing room and spoken to them in person. So I didn't really expect their new book, Infinite Dreams, that came out to celebrate the band's 50th anniversary to teach me anything new. But I was wrong. So this book is actually huge, over 1,000 photos, and a lot of them have never been published before. It covers everything from individual members' gear, stage setup, artwork, all the tours, and of course the inner workings and history of the band. And there is a lot of interesting information in there. But as I said, I also learned something new, and here are some interesting facts that surprised me. Let's start with a drink. By the end of 2023, Iron Maiden has sold over 33 million pints of their beer, the Trooper. That is a volume that many real breweries would be very proud of. I somehow always thought that this was just some sort of a prop, but I've heard that this is a good beer. I actually have one of them here. I haven't opened it yet, so I don't know, but this is apparently no gimmick. Then it's the Blaze Bayley era. I had somehow always thought about this as the dark ages of Iron Maiden, but this book made me rethink it. The shows were actually doing pretty well. Album sales were weak, but that was the grunge era. Nobody in metal was selling big back then. But live, Iron Maiden were actually holding out. And in this book they also talk about the artwork, and I found that quite interesting. So for example, the cover for Summer in Time took about 2.5 months to create. Derek Riggs planned every single detail and painted by hand. And that's just another proof about how much ambition Iron Maiden put into the total package and never took any shortcuts. Yes guys, I'm looking at you bands that are using AI nowadays to create album covers. And later with the album Book of Souls, they made that cover more simple on purpose, so it would look better on mobile screens. A heavy metal band from the 70s thinking about mobile screens, that tells a lot about this band. This book also gives an insight into how strategic this band has been with their releases and their tours. So when the DVDs became popular, it would have been tempting just to release all their VHS back catalog at once, but they didn't do that. Iron Maiden carefully spaced out the releases in between albums and tours to stay visible for longer periods. So for example, Live After Death wasn't released on DVD until 2008. And around 2000 they also changed the way that they toured. So they would release an album, then go out and tour with a lot of material of that album. And then they would go on a second tour where they would tour more of the legacy and mix in some of the newer material. And that way younger fans got a chance to discover the legacy of this band, while the die-hard fans got something new to chew on. So they weren't just touring for the die-hard fans, they were always recruiting new ones. And Bruce talks about this at the end of this book. He explains that Iron Maiden are always looking forward. They respect the past, but they don't live in it. And once you see it, it's everywhere, in the artwork, in the touring strategy, in the release strategy, and it's even in the beer. So this is a band that doesn't survive by looking back. They survive by adapting, and that's probably the reason why they're still here. So these are just a few things that I picked up from reading this book, but it is an amazing read and I highly recommend it. Whether you're a fan of Iron Maiden, you're just curious about how a band can stay relevant for over 4 decades, then I really recommend this. I really thought that I knew Iron Maiden. I was wrong.